Happy Monday. Welcome back, everybody, to Mike Drop Sports. I'm Jason. It is a big day if you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and your Pittsburgh Steelers are now the 7th seed inside this AFC playoff bracket, and you couldn't ask for more considering where this team was just a few short weeks ago. A team that was getting destroyed by mediocre teams at best, getting just manhandled in ways that were just totally head scratching and puzzling, and we all thought that this team was left for dead. And here they sit, guys, back in the playoffs, the 7th seed. Had a real chance last night until the last quarter of a football game to actually be the 6th seed of this playoff bracket. But instead, they go now to Buffalo, New York to play at 1 o'clock Sunday in a big-time matchup with the Buffalo Bills. And now everybody's saying, are the Steelers just going to go die up in Orchard Park? Or the Steelers just going to go get destroyed now? What is it? Was it for nothing just to get into the playoffs? Now that we don't have TJ Watt, what is going to happen? This defense has stood up all year, guys. And honestly, if you really look at this AFC playoff bracket and you look at all the teams inside it, are you really frightened by anybody? Are you like, oh my God, we got to go play this team? I wouldn't be. You have two AFC North teams in this bracket. The Steelers went 5-1. The only loss they have is the Cleveland Browns. And you can make up all the excuses you want in the world and say the Steelers were only playing backups in Baltimore last week. You can say the Steelers lucked into maybe some wins. The record's the record. The proof's in the pudding. I don't need to tell you. I don't need to justify it to you. They are 5-1 with inside the best division inside the entire NFL. The best division in this whole league sits here in the AFC North. There's no magic sauce to it. They're 5-1 within the division. And if you're a Steelers fan, are you totally concerned? Are you totally sitting there saying to yourself, my Lord, we can't win this game? We don't have no shot to win any of these games. I don't think so. I think you should have confidence going into any of them. And I think going into Orchard Park, going up against the Buffalo Bills, a team that can be beat, a team that has had major issues this year, that once sat sitting 6-6. Josh Allen still hasn't started to play extremely well. He played a good quarter last night in a football game against a beat-up Miami Dolphins team. Everybody wants to talk about when the Steelers play a beat-up team or the Steelers play a team that's resting players. Dude, none of these teams are full strength right now. None of these teams are full go. It's just they're not. And all these teams have major issues. Could the Steelers go up to Orchard Park and get another loss like they did in the regular season last year, a 30-point blowout? Could that happen? Absolutely. It's football. It's the NFL. It could happen. Anything could happen. But chances are the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be able to rise up and go out there and compete in this ball game and give themselves a chance probably to win late. Probably with a Chris Boswell field goal. And honestly, if I really think about it, with a newfound offensive success led by Mason Rudolph, who's had the major poise in the pocket, this major leadership swing inside this offense, inside this building, I think he could probably put up some points against this Buffalo Bills defense. They lost their big-time corner last night. Will he play? Is there going to be a good matchup for them against guys like Deontay Johnson, against George Pickens? Are they going to be able to keep the top on the defense against a guy like Calvin Austin? Are they going to be able to handle a guy like Pat Freiermuth who can totally dominate games in ways that we just haven't got to see yet? And let's all remember that Mason Rudolph has only had 3 starts. And he's just inching into this thing. And one of those starts was a start in an absolute downpour, an absolute miserable environment to throw the football. And he still threw for over 150 yards and a long touchdown to Deontay Johnson on an absolute laser beam on a post. What's not to like? What are you discouraged about if you're a Steelers fan? What would you sit there and say they don't deserve to be in the playoffs? Sit back and enjoy the ride because this team has something about it right now. This team has that mojo, that excitement, and that getting hot at the right time. And we all have to recognize that. We all have to see it for what it is and just enjoy the ride and not be so negative and not take this week and just say how bad they're going to lose. Maybe I pick them to lose. We'll see how the week transpires. We'll see how the injuries go. We'll see how the X's and O's break down. Maybe I will pick them. Maybe I'll pick them to win. Maybe I'll pick them to lose. Who knows? Maybe you'll pick them to win or lose. Who knows? We'll see how the week goes, but enjoy it. It's playoff football. It's AFC playoff football. There's 2 teams inside this bracket from the AFC North, so that means 3 total teams made the playoffs in the AFC from the toughest division in football. You have the Cleveland Browns at the 5 seed, the Baltimore Ravens at the 1, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at the 7. They totally dominate the bracket, if you ask me. And what does that mean and spell for other teams inside the AFC? You have somebody to deal with at every level. No, you're not going to get away from playing an AFC North team. There's no path to the Super Bowl if you're an AFC team that you don't got to go through the toughest division in football in the AFC North. There's no path. Nobody can make it without having to play one of the AFC North teams. And I'm going to say this with certainty before the AFC playoffs start, before they kick off, with certainty, with confidence, that an AFC North team will be the representative for the AFC in the Super Bowl. One of those 3 teams will make it to the end. One of those teams will persevere. Why? Because they beat the shit out of each other, guys. In all honesty, like the Bengals, if they don't lose Joe Burrow, do 4 teams make the playoffs for the first time ever inside the NFL? I don't think that really any of these teams remaining, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs, I just don't think. The Texans, maybe. The Texans are built a little different. The Texans might shock a few people. The Texans are going to be a tough out for the Cleveland Browns, for sure, in my opinion. I just think C.J. Stroud is him. He is it. And he's proven it time and time again. So they may be a tough out. But the other 3 teams that I named, I'm not worried about them. I'm not fully concerned. And I'm not thinking that they can go in and dominate any of the AFC North teams inside of this playoff bracket. These are just my thoughts. And I think we should really, really rise up this week and enjoy it and have fun with it and really savor the moment. They don't come around often, guys, as we know. They don't come around often. Even if you are a fan of a franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers that have 6 Lombardi trophies sitting at South Water Street. They don't come around often even then. So imagine being a fan of one of these other teams and know how rare it is to be inside these playoffs, to have a chance to make a run at a Lombardi trophy. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, remember when I talked about standing up for Cam, standing up for guys like that, some veterans that deserve a shot at this. What about a guy like TJ Watt? What about a guy like him who has given everything to you as a franchise, as an organization, whatever, as a team? He has given everything of him. He's giving everything of himself to that organization, to that team. And if you are a player, a comrade on that team of TJ Watt, I think you need to play for him. I think you need to rise up. I think you need to try to continue to march on, to give TJ that opportunity to heal and become a contributor again this postseason for this Pittsburgh Steelers team, because the amount of energy he's going to bring, because he knows how rare these situations are and how rare these opportunities are for him. He knows it. And it could only he just wants that chance. And that could just only motivate this football team. And this time of year, yes, the corny bullshit, the corny cliche bullshit does matter. The motivation does matter. Hitting that hot spot, that extra gear right now, late in the year, late in the winter, late in the season. This is when it's needed. This is when you got to dig deep and find that motivation. And if you ask me, the Pittsburgh Steelers are quite a dangerous team. Yeah, they backed into the playoffs, but so did other teams. So did other teams. Who cares? I don't care how you got there. I just care what you do with the opportunity. And especially when you've gotten there at the end to where you've gotten hot. You've come together as a football team. You've found some leadership on the offensive side of the football. The defense has been able to hold themselves together with veteran leadership across the board on that defense. And they've held themselves together. You're going to get back guys like Minka, like KZ from suspension. TJ may come back sooner than we all think. Thank God he got that news yesterday. That exciting, awesome news that he wasn't injured as badly as they originally thought. That is an amazing thing for TJ. Amazing for him to hear that news. Because a devastating knee injury that's going to keep you out for a long time could prove to really hurt your career, especially for a guy like TJ Watt that bends and spins and does all these eccentric things that are so different. You don't want to see a guy like TJ have anything crazy bad like that. It's going to be puzzling, guys, what happens inside this bracket, and it's going to be absolutely exciting to watch. And this is going to be one hell of a postseason, I'm telling you. The teams, the way they're hungry, the closeness of the talent, and how just tight this group is going to prove to be one hell of a ride, guys. Every game is going to be good. Every outcome is going to be so important to that next round. And man, you may see 3 AFC teams standing there toward the end when the dust is starting to settle. Could get really interesting. It could get bloody. It could get crazy when 2 AFC North teams meet each other in the AFC Championship game, because that hasn't happened since the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe. Way back when Troy Polamalu got a pick 6 off of Joe Flacco late in the game when number 43 secured Super Bowl 43 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Does history repeat itself, this time just at M&T Bank Stadium? Actually, it can't happen because, the Ravens are the 1, the Steelers are the 7. But we could still see a second round matchup. It's crazy. It's crazy. I just think that there is no path that leads you out of the AFC without taking on one of these AFC North teams. And spell big trouble, guys. Spell real big trouble. Man, that sucks after just thinking about that we won't get to see a Baltimore-Pittsburgh AFC Championship game. Those are usually pretty crazy. Those late, we get around 2, but still, it's just crazy to watch those games. That game was so electric. That game was so fun to watch. If you remember how fun and exciting that game was, how nerve-wracking that game was, how much significance it played in both fan bases and both organizations. It was awesome. It was just something for the ages. And when Troy Polamalu picked that ball off, wow, that was absolutely exciting. And yes, guys, let's get on one thing here before we get done with this video and move on. The curse of Myron Cope is real, guys. Absolutely, it is real. Who's the latest victim? The Jacksonville Jaguars. And it happens. I don't have to explain it. It does happen. I don't know how it happens. The Tennessee Titans had the curse on them. What did they do? They sent an apology letter to the Myron Cope Foundation to ask them to lift the curse. And once they did, how weird this may sound, the curse was lifted and they won the very next week. I know, it's so crazy to even think that this happens. The Bengals. Look what happened to the Bengals. TJ Houshmandzadeh wiping his shoes off with a terrible towel, buffing his shoes. What happened to him? The Jacksonville Jaguars waving the towel all around the stadium, acting like stupid idiots. What happens to him? Myron Cope bites you in the ass. A double yoy. A double yoy, boy. Double yoy. Crazy. Absolutely crazy, guys. That it's even a real thing, because I don't believe in superstitious shit. But Wow. It's a real thing. It does. It happens over and over, and I don't know how anybody could deny it. But again, guys, this is awesome. Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves in an excellent spot. I know it's a 7th seed, but guess what? The Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the teams that actually won from the 6th seed, Road Warriors, and went to Super Bowl 40 and secured victory for an aging Jerome Bettis and that football team, and gained a Lombardi trophy for Coach Bill Cowher and that franchise, which was the 5th Super Bowl title that they had in their illustrious, storied franchise history. And man, could history repeat itself? I don't know. Superstitious, weird shit happens all the time in the NFL. I have no clue how it does or why it does, but man, I like their chances, man. And don't hate on the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I think you're about to be in real trouble if you're a team having to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. And to the Buffalo Bills, remember that blowout that they did on the Steelers in a regular season ago? Do they lean on that? Do they take that confidence and maybe take it a little bit too far, and the Pittsburgh Steelers come in and smack the Buffalo Bills, who haven't played really well, smack them right in the mouth? Could happen. Do the Steelers keep a bottle on Josh Allen? Could happen. Does TJ Watt return sooner than we all think? Could happen. There's so many things that could transpire this week, and we have to run with it, and we have to enjoy it and savor the moment and savor every bit of it. It's one of the rarities of life, and enjoy it, guys. Because if you're a football fan for a long time, these opportunities do not come around all the time, man. They do not happen every season. And hopefully this is a good one. Hopefully this is a long one. Hopefully this is one of those magical winters in the city of Pittsburgh. All right, guys, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Don't forget, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, peace.